Why did the people betray Muslim ibn Aqil, the cousin of Hussein ibn Ali, after knowing who he was, after initially pledging their support and their lives? Nafdik, we will sacrifice for you with our wealth and our children and everything else. How could they betray him in such a lame, in such an awkward fashion, in the space of a day, from the morning till the evening? Because he wants, of course, to go and bring back Hani ibn Urwa, one of his loyal supporters. How could they betray him? And that in fact is called the bystander's effect. The women would say to their children, you don't need to go and support Ibn Aqil, because there are other people who can do that for you. It's 18,000 base, others will do the job. And the fathers would say, wait till you hear of the armies marching from Damascus of Yazid. You guys have no chance against him and his army. Right? They became bystanders in this. Right? They knew when the armies were preparing themselves, they knew that there is no way that Ibn Aqil has any support, that he will be massacred and martyred. If you really want to take a lesson from the events of Karbala, you want to take a lesson from the life of Hussein ibn Ali, at this point in time, then try and understand what is it to be a bystander. What does it truly mean? There's been so much discussion about this because of recent events. In fact, the case in 1964 of Kitty Genovese, the case of the 38 witnesses who saw the murder of a woman in New York who was stabbed, raped, killed, and there were 38 witnesses to that murder. Since that time to now, there has been more than 600 articles and papers written to try and understand what is the psychology of the one who bystands and says, you know what, it's bad, but I can't do anything to help it. And people like Philip Zimbardo, in his analysis from the Lucifer's effect, how good people turn evil, has explored this. From his analysis, there are like two things, and there's obviously more, but he says one is this diffusion of responsibility, where you think, well, I know it's bad, but you know, there's a lot of us and other people can do the job. Like we see images of human suffering, we see Muslims starving, we see Muslims being killed, and you think, well, I know it's bad, but the ummah is so big, maybe other people will take the lead and do something fantastic. Maybe this will happen, maybe that will happen. And the other thing is audience inhibition, where even if any one of us sees a person on the street and is lying down and he's incapacitated or he's in a situation, you might think to yourself, well, I wouldn't know how to help that person. I know I should help that person, but I wouldn't know how to help that person. I wouldn't know how to check their heartbeat or their pulse or anything else, and therefore I would embarrass myself if I tried to help that person. Right? So you have these things, but every one of us is in that situation. The people of Kufa, they sat back and they just watched. They became bystanders. But every one of us, in fact, has the capacity to become like that in all things, in all situations. Right? But we know we look back, and there's been many cases in human history like that. That's only one example. People speak about the case of Shan Deshere in 1993, where a girl was 12 years old, but she was taken from her home, and she was stabbed, but the stabbing didn't quite work. Then she was strangled, but that didn't kill her either. And then she was set alight, and there were witnesses to that. There were people who were part of the group that inflicted that pain on her, who didn't take part, and then they confessed to others who then knew of the crime, and then they confessed to others, and actually the ripple effect, it went through and through. At the end there were so many witnesses, but no one said anything. What is the thing? People speak about the case of animals in 1903, the case of Topsy the elephant, an animal, you know, and they were testing the alternating currents of electricity, the high currents of electricity. And they tried it out on an elephant, and it was more than 1,500 people were there spectating. But they killed the elephant. They killed the elephant, right? And they were all bystanders in that. And there's so many cases. The case of Kevin Carter, 1993. The photographer took the picture of the Sudanese girl on the floor. And it looks as if she's trying to get food. She's not. She's trying to get back to camp. Right, but you can't see that because the images are still. We can't see that, and then there's a vulture besides her, waiting for her to die, so the vulture could eat her. Kevin Carter took 20 minutes to take that photograph. Took 20 minutes to get his camera right, and he was waiting, in fact, for the vulture to spread its wings, because he thought that would be the perfect photograph. In any case, he won the Pulitzer Prize for that photograph as the best picture of the year. But it takes 20 minutes, and although he repelled the vulture, he made no effort to take this Sudanese kid into some area of safety. And he killed himself, of course. Within a few weeks after winning the prize, he committed suicide. But he too then was a bystander. And even though we think, well, what an awful picture, look at the irony behind it. The one who took it was by himself a bystander. And we all have that human capacity to become like that, right? To become like the people of Kufa, who were bystanders, and they betrayed Muslim ibn Aqil, and as you will learn, they betrayed Hussein ibn Ali radiyallahu anhu.